Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Expansive CEO Podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Chapman, with my lovely co-host, Lauren Ammon.
Hi, friends.
Hello. And we are, in case you're new here, Expansive CEO is part of the ecosystem with X Squared Wealth Planning, which is our financial planning firm that does all of the energetic and logical work needed to transform your relationship to wealth, to prosperity. And Expansive CEO as an arm is where we talk about how to build your business from a place of alignment with who you truly are, in alignment with your human design, with your gene keys, how to heal the money stories that get in the way of making those good financial decisions that you quote unquote, think what do you think is the right thing to do. We actually, have a lot of money stories. We have a lot of things from our childhood, from our adolescence, from our early adulthood, experiences with money that really come up in patterns. And until we see the pattern, we don't really understand what it is. And once we see it, we can heal it. We become aware, we can accept where it came from, and then we can take a new action in how we move forward differently. So all of that comes into play in Expansive CEO, along with what are the actual tangible financial things that we need to do in order to create a strong business. Like, how do we create the solid foundations financially so that we can build a business in alignment, so that we can build a business that meets our needs and helps us live the life that we want to live. All of that is wrapped up in Expansive CEO. So welcome. And we go through, if you go back, even just one episode where we talked about the entrepreneurial roller coaster, like what it's like when you have, a big month and then a 0 month, or a big month and then multiple 0 months of revenue. How do we smooth that out? How do we change our physical and everyday experience with money, even within an entrepreneurial business or, a small business that has fluctuating revenue? We talked a lot about the actual logistics of that. And then if you go one episode before that, we talked about, projectors in human design and the importance of self-love and the responsibility that you carry for the definition you have in your human design, right? So we're going all over the map in a way, and yet it's all related and it's all important. And I just wanted to make that known, that if you hear us talking about logically about money and how to build a business and, specific tactics and strategies, we're going to talk about that stuff. And it's going to be grounded in experience and all of the, our own experiences as business owners, all the clients that we work with. But we're also going to talk about human design and gene keys and things that are quote unquote very woo, because we love it. And it's important, and it's an important aspect of getting to be all of yourself. And so Lauren and I are also being all of ourselves in this process of helping you see how we're building together and all of that. So anyway, to give us a framework for what we're going to talk about today, we are going to talk about something super exciting that is dropping after this podcast, literally tomorrow. So this podcast is coming out July 28th. We have a very cool thing dropping on July 29th. So we're going to talk a lot about that on Substack. And then we're going to talk about our astrological natal charts in relation to the astrological natal charts of both Expansive CEO and X Squared, and how impactful it was for each of us to see how the businesses are different from us personally. And just, how important that was to see and realize and integrate. And then again, same awareness, become aware of it, accept it, accept it, and then take new actions based on this very deep, reflective, contemplative information. So that's the roadmap. Hi, Lauren. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, and I'm super excited to talk about this arm of what we do and what we process and what we look at and how we design, not just how we interact with one another, but how we look at the business, the roles we play in the business, and how important those are. I love this stuff. Like, again, I think I've said it 100,000 times on the podcast. Like, you can't tell me that it's not worth exploring how connected we are to the universe that surrounds us. And it hasn't been any modality that I've known or studied before, human design, gene keys, or astrology, that has led me to feel so connected to myself and so connected to other people. So again, tell me I'm wrong. Really don't care. Because it's worked. And as we go through this conversation, I think those who are willing to explore a more unconventional way of how we connect to each other, how we connect to ourselves, and how we connect to the universe around us can be really inspired by this.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Let's go.
Yes.
So let's talk first about the Expansive CEO Substack. Yay, yay, yay. This is so exciting. It's so fun to be there. If you're not familiar with Substack, it's a place where people write what's on their heart, right? It's a very cool platform to go and explore writers, people's writing, authors, and also like start really impactful conversations. People are, I want to say, just like it feels like they're more real on Substack, especially then it's so much less curated than like an Instagram feed or a LinkedIn feed.
Don't even get me started.
We're Facebook, kind of the same. It's like, it's just filled with like weird AI stuff at this point, like
ads.
And ads, so many ads. Substack does not have ads. Substack does not reward clickbait. It really is more about like finding people that you resonate with and being able to like read what they have to say, learn from each other, and they're even like opening up more avenues to make it even easier for people to connect more deeply.
Yes.
And so from a platform, like a social media platform standpoint, it is unique, and I think they're building it in a really positive way. And then for us as creators, it's another outlet to where we can actually, again, like have longer form content, get to share more deeply, and connect with people on just a new level. So can you tell our listeners what we're launching?
Yes. So again, one, we have no connection to Substack in this respect. We're not being paid. There's no sponsorship behind this. We just happen to geek out over there. So for anybody who's not familiar, right now we've been putting out a lot of content. It could be, whether it's reflections from these conversations that we have on the podcast, or it's, whatever Hannah and I talk about on a daily basis. One of us will have a eureka moment and we'll just put an article out there, or it's reflections of, client interactions we have, obviously protecting all of the private information, but using them as examples of how things come together and really trying to bridge the gap that just conventionally exists between who you are energetically and the money and your business. And, that's the bridge that we're trying to create. And so Substack serves as another bridge for us. And so we've been putting those articles out. What's coming tomorrow on July 29th is a paid tier where we go even deeper into money topics, energy topics, and we have created two different tiers. So the first paid tier is the annual tier. You can pay monthly if you'd like, but the annual tier is $180 a year. As part of that,
$15 a month, $18 a month.
You can pay monthly $18 a month or $180 a year. So you get quote unquote 2 months free. for the year. The content there, we started actually another series that we're calling $1 Million Questions. And they're very specific questions. So far, what we've created is money content, particularly in the context of relationships and looking at different aspects of a relationship, just beginning a relationship in terms of marriage and how you combine finances, getting a divorce and splitting finances. And then, kind of the third part of the series so far is getting into a second or third relationship and how you might approach that differently financially than you did the first or second time around. So we get into very specific questions and the opportunity at the chat feature to ask us very specific questions that we can then address not just to you directly, but then use that as part of the platform to answer that same question to the broader collective. That's the first annual tier, or that's the first tier, that's the annual tier. Then we go to the founding members tier. In addition to everything that you receive as part of the annual tier, you also get our 6 money story meditations. So the meditations that have changed my life in terms of, how you really look at money, how you feel about money, and really rooting like you go through them like, that's where that came from. So as part of these meditations, we also offer a workbook so that as you work through each of these meditations, you also have the opportunity to reflect on whatever the heck just came up, because it's going to be a lot. It's going to be emotional, whether it's high emotions, low emotions, maybe it's the whole gamut of them. Mm-hmm. But to give you an opportunity to root through it, because what we've learned not only in our own experience, but in working with clients, when you bring up the awareness, when you actually sit with the awareness, you reflect on the awareness, it does bring this level of acceptance of like, okay, this is how I got here. I may not have written the whole story, but it's now my responsibility to rewrite the story. So then that's where I take the next action in order to move forward. So we offer you the 6 money story meditations,
which are not available anywhere else.
No,
by the way, I've sold the first meditation on the Expansive CEO website for a while, but I have never put the other 5 anywhere for sale. So this is like literally, I'm really excited about this. This is a brand new way for people to receive that whole series of meditations, which they take you through a journey. Like there's a purpose for how they're created and how they flow, and flowing through the workbook. Lauren helped really elevate that from. I want to tell the story real quick because I think it's really helpful, because I had created these meditations actually a few years ago to go with the regenerative wealth program. And so they do, you go through a module, there's some logical stuff that, we talk about, and it's going to bring up emotions as well. And so the meditations are also still available in the regenerative wealth program as well. We'll get to that a little bit later. But there was nowhere where people could just have the meditations and just go through this experience. So as Lauren was going through the regenerative wealth program to like see how it could be elevated, see how it could be made better, reorganize it, because that's what her brain does. And it's amazing. She took all the meditations and you just did them back to back. And I was like, what was that like? Because I had never done them that way. That wasn't necessarily like the intention. And the experience that you had, that you shared with me, was like so incredibly profound. And just it led to this again, and we'll talk about this more later when we talk about, kind of our different purposes in this lifetime, like that universalization of here's how we can take this really, really special material and make it more available and make it so that more people can benefit from the contemplation and the reflection that I've put out there. right? Like they already exist. Let's just make them more available. So I thought it was so amazing when you came back to me and just said, I did them all. Like, oh my God. And yes, so it's really to have them available to the founding member tier. It's so special. I'm so excited to have that be like one of the really big perks of joining that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really funny because I think maybe that's just my 1-3, right? I was like, oh, they're all here, so might as well just do them all at one time. And then when I did them, I was like, oh my God. Okay. And then so many things kind of spawn from that. But in addition to that, which is really funny, which is what we'll get into when we talk about kind of the astrological stuff, is that in addition to the 6 money story meditations in the workbook as a part of the founding member tier, you also have access to live quarterlies that Hannah and I will host. They're going to be either Q&A sessions in terms of, could be anything, could run the gamut of what we talk about, from money to relationships to energy, human design, gene keys, astrology. While we are not astrologers or claim to be experts in that respect, we're dabblers. We like to experiment. We like to have fun, and we pull from the expertise of other people to kind of piece things together. But offering the opportunity, again, this goes back to the team that Hannah and I create in between the energies together, is that, not only does it allow Hannah to go deep inside of what she loves to do and forging the relationships, because that is part of her purpose, it also allows, from my expertise of, well, how do we make this broader to everybody? How do we give the opportunity to more people? And so that's what the Q&A really reflects, is that it also offers the opportunity that it's not just, well, here's some shit and, have fun. No. Here's the stuff, root through it, come back and ask the questions, give us your reflections, tell us what worked, what didn't, all those things, because as generators, that's what we love.
Mm-hmm.
And so this creates quite honestly, Hannah, what this creates is the community I think you and I have collectively wanted to create. But I also believe that our own individual energies aren't really designed for that. But they're designed in the quantum that we create together.
Yes.
So yeah, that's what we're doing. July 29th drops 9 a.m. I don't know.
It's available. Go over to Substack, go to the Expansive CEO Substack. The link will be in the show notes there. Super easy to find. And you'll see the tiers. You'll see the ability to subscribe. Lauren, there will be a certain number of things that are there immediately.
Yes.
And then what is the schedule for, that additional paid content?
Yes. So, we're big believers in, we're not trying to make this really hard for everybody. So, the first 3 episodes, I think the first 3 episodes will be available for $1 million questions. They're easily labeled. You can follow along. And then we'll every Wednesday will be the weekly cadence of the next content, whatever that may be. Now, recognize that Hannah and I are sacral generators. So things are going to be kind of in the moment. And I don't mean that what we drop will be in the moment. I mean, some of the content will be relevant to what is important for us in that moment. So while it may seem that the ideas are scattered, they're really not. They're all interconnected. But part of it is, when we feel something or we feel a surge of what we're excited or satisfied with, that's what you'll kind of see coming out. But it will always be in the context of money, relationship with money, prosperity, wealth, energy, alignment, expansion, all the things that we talk about here. And then our lives will be, Hannah's going to lead some meditations to kind of build off of the 6 that we've dropped as part of the founding tiers. Will be questions. And, some days might actually be a combination of those 2 things. Or as we get into this, maybe it'll develop into something completely new. But again, that's the beauty of being a generator. You kind of just you're slapped by something and you're like, oh, okay, let's do that.
And it's that I also want to like really, really open that invitation to when you become a subscriber, even more, like we want your questions. We want to know what you're curious about. And that way, like, because again, as generators, we're here to respond. And so we're responding to lots of things all the time. But when someone gives me a specific question, like, watch out because
look out.
I am super excited about that and I really want to answer it. Right. So the community aspect is so special. And it really is like we've wanted to have a relatively low ticket community offer for a long time. But it also, like, we'll get into this in a minute when we switch over to, talking about the natal charts of the businesses and versus our individual charts. But it just never could quite materialize. It was just like every time I've done a group program personally in the last 6 years, it always ends up going so freaking deep. It's like we can't help but dive all the way to the bottom. And anytime we've been, I've created a container like that, it's like all the feedback is like, this needs to be higher ticket, or this needs to be high ticket, or this needs to be like, oh my gosh, it's so much. And there are so many reasons for that, again, that we'll get to in a second. And there has always been a pull to have something that is more collective, something that is more, again, more accessible. Because even that, the founding members tier, I don't know if we mentioned this, it's $360 per year or $36 per month. So if you do the 360 per year, you get, again, it's 2 months free. You pay for 10 months instead of 12. And so, we've got either $18 a month or $180 a year or $36 a month or $360 per year. Those are the two tiers. And it's meant to follow for us, for our energy of being able to respond to questions, be able to drop in, what's alive right now, while also from Lauren's perspective and what we just talked about, like the $1 million, not the $1 million questions, the money story meditations and the workbook, again, have a vehicle where those can get out into the world more broadly and help more people. Because those ones, like our energy is embedded into that, both of us, right? I did the meditations. I created all the originals of that. And then Lauren came in and especially with the workbook, like really pulled it all together and put in more questions of like, oh, this is the question that I needed to answer as I did this meditation, and just really elevated the entire thing. And so when we create from that true place of service, of contribution, of like, I cannot wait for someone else to meet themselves a little more deeply. And like that's all that was the energy that was created those meditations. The imprint is all over. Right. And so when you, as the new listener, listen to those, that energy is carried in. And that's part of what makes it, you're going to have an experience, whatever your experience is going to be as you go through these different meditations. But the frequency of love and the frequency of service and the frequency of, we just want you to meet yourself more deeply. Above anything else, that's the thing that's most important here. That is what is the bedrock of the meditations and more broadly, actually, like of Substack in general, right? That was did we talk about this almost a year ago? Maybe like 9 months ago? is like, what can we build that is purely from love? And so there's so much excitement for me in that, to be like, it was created in that energy of love and service. And we want every step and every offering and every next version of what's there to be in that energy of love and service.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know that I have anything to add to that. We talked, all the weeks get, uh, jumbled in my brain, but when we talked about self-love, right? And we talked about how you're being of gate 10 and how frequent that is for you, or how many activations you have in that respect, and how it's hard not to feel that in your presence. I'm random cross of service, right? As a generator, I respond to giving service to whatever it is that brings me satisfaction. And to your point, it is supporting people to meet themselves more deeply. Like, that is just I just want you to see yourself for who you are and love and accept that person, and accept, ACC, that you have a very specific contribution in this world, and that you fit at a very specific place in this world. And that may be in the hierarchy of things, right? Like, it's not about who's above or below. It's simply about, it's like I always picture it as a puzzle. Like, the hierarchy is not a ladder. It's like a 3D puzzle that's just like, we all just fit, we all have to just like go. And then, so that is where, that's kind of the infusion of service that I bring to it, is like, all right, this is great. How do we take this love and say, this is who you are, and this is where you fit, and here's kind of the shit that's getting in your way, and we're going to help you remove all that.
Yeah. Oh, so exciting. So go check it out. Go to Substack. Go over there. We love to answer your questions. You can send us messages. You can, we have the subscriber chat feature.
Yes.
Okay. So that's a chat for only subscribers.
Paid subscribers.
That's right. Paid subscribers, because you can also subscribe for free.
Yes.
And then you will always be notified when we write something, and share something. But the paid subscriber tiers will be the ones that receive all, most of the content. The paid subscribers will receive all of the regular paid subscription stuff. The founding subscriber members are the ones who get the money story meditations and access to the live quarterly events.
Yes.
So again, those are the main differences. And what I really appreciate, because I had this question, I was feeling like, what if there was just one tier? What if I just, like, my instinct always is like, I just want to give everyone everything, have all the stuff, right? Like, I want everyone to have access to all the things. And Lauren very wisely reflected back, like, okay, we need to have a little bit of a stair step glide path for other people to feel into what's the right level for right now. So if $180 feels good, $18 a month, like, that feels great. I want to start there. A really nice feature of Substack is also that you can, if after like 3 months or 6 months, you're like, I really want the rest. I really want to go to the live events. I really want the money story meditations. You can just pay the difference. You can upgrade your subscription to pay the difference. So there is from my perspective, there is a kind and gentle way for you to take each, if you're a person like me, who you're kind of like, no, when I'm in, I'm all in. Like,
Right.
just give me the stuff, right? Like, that's how I tend to be, but I'm not everyone. Everyone has their own little stair step. And so if someone needs, like, I'm going to subscribe first and check it out. Oh, and then I'm going to do the $18 a month and check that out for a little bit. Oh, and then we're going to do the $360 or $36 a month. And that's it. That gives you the pathway to what's the right level of connection. without us pushing or doing, like, we don't need that. We don't need that pushy energy.
Yeah. No, God, no.
Ugh. Ew.
You will see me shut down. Okay, no, we're good.
No. Oh no. Okay, so that's Substack. Now I really want to talk about astrological natal charts and the chart of your business and how you interact with your business. So can you kick it off? Because I want to, we're in Riverside. Technical note, listeners, I can't share things I usually use Safari. I know people might hear that and think I'm insane. I don't use Chrome as my like default browser. I usually am in Safari, but in Riverside, where we record our podcasts, I can only share from Chrome. So,
Yes. So to kick us off, listener, for the context here, Hannah has been the one who dabbles a little bit more in astrology, and in us working together, I'm not even going to be able to remember when the heck this was brought up, but she had brought my astrological natal chart to my attention. And, she was pointing some things out and telling me what it meant. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to need more than that. So then we started playing around. And one day she came to me and again, I forget the context. That context doesn't even matter. She came to me and she's like, I was looking at the astrological charts of X squared and Expansive CEO, and then kind of laying hers in there, laying mine in there. But what really kicked off the conversation was when Hannah pulled the astrological charts of both X squared and Expansive CEO, there was this, and Hannah, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but this is what I kind of received was kind of this quote unquote nagging of like, here is like every time, and you kind of alluded this when we were talking about groups, like every time I go into a group, all I want to do is just go really deep. We tend to just like, all of a sudden we're just deep down, way farther than I ever intended to go. And I just have this pull of like, when you were looking at X squared and Expansive CEO, analyzing it from an astrological point of view, it was like, well, Expansive CEO, both of them were kind of, and you're going to have to hold me true to the details, but both of them were kind of like being bigger and bigger. And I was like, but every time I try to go bigger, it just doesn't work. And so that's what launched the analysis of looking at hers inside the business, looking at mine inside the businesses. And when you layer these things on top of one another, it's like, oh, well, that explains some things. And it's actually a really interesting exercise that if you are a business owner out there, you can actually pull an astrological chart of your business. You can pull a human design chart of your business and, go to the day that Hannah, what do you use when you filed the LLCs or when you got the confirmation the LLC was formed?
So and if you talk to like anyone who does business astrology, I'm sure some people have like very strong opinions about what you're supposed to use. What I have explored and tried, for me, it's like what was the energetic imprint of when I perceived each business to be birthed, right? Is the best way to put it. So, so they're different actually, because I had the LLC filed for X squared in late 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked with an attorney to get all of that buttoned up, but I couldn't start X squared until I resigned from my position at the firm I was at. And so that I resigned on January 28th at 4:55 p.m. of 2021. And my registration as a licensed person, my registration flipped over to be underneath Juncture Wealth Strategies and X Squared Wealth Planning and live for me to be able to talk to clients at 10 a.m. on January 29th, 2021. So at 10 a.m. on January 29th, 2021, was the moment that I was allowed to be me and allowed to talk about X squared and allowed to tell people about it. Right. So to me, even though I had been like laying the groundwork for months for this to happen, I'd been working on a website. I've been doing all kinds of stuff. It was that was like akin to pregnancy. And so, that's really funny too. In the human design chart side, right, there is an unconscious side and then a conscious side. The conscious side or the personality side is the moment of birth.
The moment of separation from mother.
Yes, exactly. And so I hadn't, that would be funny to see. Hold on, I'm going to look right now because I have it up. The design date is November 3rd, 2020. I wonder when my LLC was. I don't think it was quite that early, but that's funny. So anyway, because it's roughly
88 days before.
It's 88 days before. There we go. Not roughly. Exactly. So anyway, for me, so for X squared, it was like that was the moment it was birthed. Everything up to that was gestation of the business. For Expansive CEO, it felt a little different because again, I like there was that same kind of like feeling of gestation of like, here's the idea, here's the stuff that I really can't wait to create. I'm already like thinking about and creating these different ways to interact with people, but I had to, because X squared was already alive and that was my main focus and source of income, and being in the financial industry, we have to be very, very clear about boundaries around making sure that if we have any other offerings that they are properly documented, listed as outside business activities. And I had to talk to my compliance officer. And so I had a conversation with him and said, okay, here's what I want to do. Here's how it's different. We're not going to be doing, I'm not going to be giving financial advice that would fall under the umbrella of, supervised financial advice. We're just going to be talking about business building, money stories, the energetic component. So it's basically coaching, business coaching. It's not financial planning. And if we have to move to financial planning, we will move into X squared. And when he saw that, and I explained all of it to him, his comfort level was that needs to be a separate LLC. That needs to be a separate business. It needs to have an OBA or an outside business activity filed. And we understand that's what that's going to be. And so at the moment, that conversation gave me the clarity that I needed. Okay, now I just have to file my LLC, and then Expansive CEO can be born and be its own separate entity. So for Expansive CEO, I did use the date that the LLC was filed and accepted. And so they're not the same, but for each one, it was, where did my energy get to separate from the gestation period into, okay, this business can now be open and yeah, that's a perfect example. When is the umbilical cord cut? Right. So that's what I used for each one. And I have explored this before. I mean, I think I pulled the chart, the human design chart for X squared like years ago. And I am, listener, if you aren't aware or you haven't heard in a while, my design is a 6-2 profile, sacral authority, pure manifesting generator. And X squared, here, I can actually, let's share it. Let's do it. We're going to share some different stuff. X squared is an emotional projector. Like, how opposite can you be? Still has the channel of surrender, though. right? And triple split.
Split.
Right. So we've got the crown and ajna, the top two triangles defined through the channel of awareness. Then we've got the ego and spleen defined through the channel of surrender. And then we've got the solar plexus and root defined through the channel of recognition. Completely open G center. Super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually has the 20 gate 27, which is one of the only sacral gates that I don't have.
Yeah.
In my own chart.
Nourishment.
Yeah. So interesting. So I had looked at this before and like, oh, well, that's really interesting. So like, how is, starting that contemplation of how is my energy as a 6-2 sacral manifesting generator different from X squared in specific as an emotional projector, a 3-5.
I was going to say, is it 3 or 2? Okay.
Yep. 3-5 emotional projector. And that, I had a lot of exploration around that. It was interesting. But when I started learning more about my astrological natal chart, the astro chart, the natal chart, is just the moment of birth. Well, I have so many thoughts around this. But it tells a different story. It's complementary. It's part of the human design chart. But when you look at the circle, the wheel, basically, of the astro chart, it tells the story in a little bit different way. And so when I was playing around with this earlier this year, as Lauren was alluding to, let's see, I'm going to stop this share and reshare. Boy, I think it's this one. Okay, this is my birth chart. Okay, so this is an astrological natal chart. I am a Leo sun. So most people, if they think about like, what's your sign, right? They're talking about what's your sun sign. I'm a Leo sun. My moon is in Aries, and I'm a Capricorn rising. So those are my big three. If you hear the term, what are your big three? It's your sun, moon, rising. So I'm a Leo sun, Aries moon, Capricorn rising. I have a lot of energy in my 8th house, which is what I'm showing right here. My sun sign is in the 8th house, my Venus is in the 8th house, and my Mercury is in the 8th house. The 8th house is all about death, taxes, inheritance, other people's money, and the deep kind of dark shadow side of that. All of the kind of scary emotional material that we don't want to see with regards to money. My sun sign is in that house, as is my Venus and Mercury. So all of my they call those our personal planets. That is super, super important. Super important to the discussion we're having right now too. The 8th house is hidden. It's considered a hidden house. It's considered like a shadow house. And yet my sun is here to shine light on that hidden house. It's a very deep house. It's not surface level. It's not really meant to be broadcast everywhere. And yet all of my planets that are meant to be broadcasting are sitting in this hidden house. If we then go to, I don't think that switched. I'm going to stop my share again. And I'm going to show you, I think it's this one. Yes. This is the chart for X squared. And so that date, January 29th, 2021 at 10 a.m., when my registration flipped, when X squared was born, this is what the sky looked like. This is the map of where the planets were and what houses they were in. It's an Aquarius sun, Leo rising, Leo moon, and a Pisces rising. But more than that, like there's really interesting information there. But what was really fascinating to me is that there's this huge cluster of planets in the 11th house. And it's a lot. It's the sun, it's Jupiter, it's Saturn, it's Venus, and it's Pluto. Five planets are in the 11th house. And the 11th house is all about community. It's about the collective. It's about how we interact with others. It's about what we project into groups, into the world. 5, including sun, including Venus, include like those personal, it's so impactful. It's so freaking important. This is the house, this one does have light shined on it. This is not a hidden house. This is a very community collective based house. Lauren, I don't have your chart up on Chrome, but Lauren has a freaking ton of energy in the 12th house. Another hidden house, actually. Sun, moon. What else is in your 12th house?
And Mercury.
And Mercury. Again, like really important placements in the 12th house. Hidden spirituality, your connection to yourself, what we keep hidden and secret within ourselves. A lot there. And so what I had been feeling when I saw this chart, when I saw the astrological natal chart of X squared, it immediately clicked for me. All of this energy I had been feeling for so long of like, this is meant to reach a lot of people. This is meant to be seen. It is meant to be, I would have these visions of like being on a stage in front of thousands of people, like leading a whole group through a meditation and having these collective experiences and having this disseminating the information of how do we create a peaceful relationship with money? How do we create a business that actually feels good to run, that actually creates strong relationships and strong families and, like feels prosperous and is prosperous? How do we get that information out to more people? It was so like the business itself has that imprint. But I have the imprint of going deep, going into the hidden, going into what we don't necessarily want to talk about in groups. Right? Like, and again, that experience of like feeling the pull of like, I'm like X squared is supposed to be out there. But every time I try to be more out there, I get people in and we go deep. We go deep, deep, deep because that's me. That's Hannah. That's Hannah energy. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, okay. Oh, it's not broke. Oh, it's not broken. I'm not broken. X squared isn't broken or wrong. I'm just, and it's not even that I'm not the right match for the energy. That's not it either. It's, hey, guess what? You're not supposed to do this by yourself. Ding, ding, ding. You're supposed to have other people with you. You're supposed to have other people who help this energy get out into the world so that me, Hannah energy can continue to go deep. And that was like, oh my God, like so much. It was like relief washing over me to know that that's how the business is designed. What's hilarious, so freaking hilarious. I don't have Expansive CEO's astro chart up right now, but it's not exactly the same, but it is so similar to X squared. But it's not, it was literally January 29th, 2021 versus sometime in October of 2022. They were not like born at the same time. And yet their charts are incredibly similar. And Expansive CEO also has a stacked 11th house. That house of community, that house of the collective, that house of, how we behave in groups. X Squared and Expansive CEO have that similar imprint of this is for the masses. This is for collective transformation. And I was carrying all of that weight for years, just me. With my eighth house, my eighth house stellium, but when you add, there are smaller aspects too. There's like 6 placements total in the eighth house. So yeah, it was so important for me to see and recognize and to give myself that next layer of permission of like, oh, that's why Lauren's here. And we have someone else coming in also. That's why she's here. Her chart is hilarious. You know who you are. Her chart is also stacked in the 11th house. I'm like, oh, I think that's why. That's one of the reasons. Not the only reason. That's one of the reasons. Like the energy just felt like this is who you need. So I'm going to shush. You say things now.
Well, I think it also goes back to, part of the story too is that you were given so much feedback, suggestions. Let's just put it that way. Suggestions, not feedback, suggestions of things need to be a group. And it was like, okay. So this is bringing all of these modalities together. And that's where the beauty of all of these modalities, even if they're maybe sometimes slightly contradict each other or they don't necessarily always flow into each other, that doesn't mean either of them are wrong. It just simply means how do you as a person integrate the understanding of these things in order to move forward. And so this is a classic example of a generator of like open enveloping aura. Everyone has, let's come in, let's see the things, let's do the things, let's see what she's doing. Oh, do this. And you're like, okay, I'll try it. And then you try it and you're like, I hate it. This is terrible. And not like I hate it as in this is the most terrible thing on the planet. It's simply my energy is just not designed to do the group thing.
To sustain it. Yeah.
To sustain the group thing. Yes. And thinking about it from a money standpoint, like it is a very personal thing. And, if you're to bring a group, and we even tried it, we tried the regenerative wealth program to be a group thing. We did get multiple participants in it, but they came as already connected to each other. So it was different, but you can see how that works. But now seeing that program live for myself, no, I would never suggest that it be a group.
Yeah, like a 15-person group of just random,
right,
unrelated people.
First of all, you wouldn't be able to, and I mean this in the most loving way possible, you wouldn't be able to do it because it would be like, no, I need to figure out yours and yours and yours. And the group program would be 67 weeks long and everyone would be dead by the time it was over. So it's like, but therein lies the crux of what we talk about is that, yeah, it's supportive to have the outer authority of other people, to have ideas and inspiration coming in, but the responsibility of knowing yourself and knowing your energy and knowing how these things really translate through your mechanics, that actually saves you a significant amount of time, effort, and energy. If someone provides a suggestion to you and you have information like your astrological chart, like your human design chart, like your gene keys chart, or whatever modality that ever really speaks to you, you can say, that's great. Thank you. I'm going to pass on that one. Right. And oftentimes I think what we also all have to learn too is we do have to experiment. We do have to, even if you know all these things, you're never going to get it right. You're speaking to a 3, never going to get it right. So, I got to experiment the thing, or I got to experience the thing to say, okay, that doesn't work. But I think everybody has a level of that. And in seeing your process and what you do truly behind the scenes, right? It makes so much sense to stay in that lane, right? Because yes, it is here to be bigger than you, to be for the masses, to be transformative for the collective. But you specifically are not designed for that. You can carry the vision, you can carry the direction, because you literally have those things in your chart, but you can't necessarily, and I mean that in the most powerful way possible. You can't possibly be the only one who does that.
Right.
The limitation of your energy would limit the possibility of the business.
100%. It's when we talk in logical terms, that is the bottleneck.
Yes.
Right. That's an energy thing. We can put it in business terms. You are the roadblock. You are the bottleneck. You trying to be, and I'm speaking to me trying to be the one that holds all of it, that does all of it, was the absolute biggest constriction, limitation, right? On what X squared and what Expansive CEO both are capable of being. And again, seeing their charts, their business design, I guess it is not human.
Yeah.
Their design charts and their astrological natal charts. It's like, it's just another layer of like, oh yeah, of course, this is what the energy that I have been feeling, because I am connected. I have spent a lot of time being able to be intuitively, in tune with other people, with business, with the energy of money and how money flows, like those intuitive connections, right? I was feeling all of that. And just like we teach, I was taking it on like I have to do it, rather than seeing it as information of what the business is capable of, what the business wants, what the business is here to be, separate from me as a human. How did you feel from your perspective? Because then we did some research into like your chart. You have 12th house stellium and 6th house stellium.
Yes.
Which are 12 and 6 are right across from each other. They're also related. Where then, again, Expansive CEO and X squared, very 11th house heavy.
Yes.
What did that mean to you for your own energy, also based on what you had tried before with Unlimited Leader and Performance Reimagined and all the things that you had tried?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So I'm not as in depth from the astrological point of view. I use a lot of different resources to help me kind of piece all the things together. But what really stands out for me, so I have my sun in the 12th house, and what did we say? My sun, my moon, and my Mercury.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm here to illuminate all the hidden shit that nobody wants to talk about. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that sounds about right. And what also stands out too in learning about that is that I also have I'm not gonna describe it as, because I'm not as, this is where my one doesn't feel like I'm standing on a very sound foundation. Is that, things kind of come to me over time. Like I have a very intuitive nature about me, and I know things without knowing how I know things or being able to explain them. But over time, they just kind of like download into me, and then I'm just like.
What was hilarious about that was that all of your 12th house placements, they described exactly that. And then when we look at your human design, right, your spleen is the seat of intuition, and it's 100%, like 130% defined. And so when we you can, again, that's where I also like to just illuminate that same thing of like, they're saying the same thing. It's just telling the story a little bit differently.
Yes.
But that that's one of the biggest things that we can see on your astrological natal chart, is that you are here to illuminate what is hidden. And it's an extremely intuitive house that is stacked with personal planets. And then your human design chart says exactly the same thing.
Right. And then my human design chart also says, I have a very collective mind, which means like a very quote unquote logical mind. So yes, where my astrological chart says you have a very intuitive mind, you can read that as a contradiction. I read it as an integration. Like I have the ability to see the pattern logically, mentally, but what really tends to download in me is more these intuitive, like, oh, because I put all of these patterns together. Oh, there it is. Oh, I see it now. And, in terms of running, I've never run, any of my businesses astrological charts. I don't even remember. I think I was like done with my corporate job and I was like, whatever it is, I don't care what it is or what it does, those sorts of things. But what I will say in terms of the context of going into this, of looking through the lens of X squared and expansive CEO, but then looking back on my businesses and where I felt I was the limitation. First of all, I knew I was the limitation. The moment that I learned that I was a split definition in human design and that I really needed other people, I was like, yeah, that's totally it. But it also took me a really long time to understand I need the right people. I need the correct people. And that's when I really started to slow down and be like, okay, I know a partnership is there. I just don't know when it's coming, what it is, or what it looks like. But where I was the limitation in my own business, I'm great at seeing the patterns. And I'm great at seeing the patterns of other people. But where I was turning that on myself is like, I have to see the patterns of everything that I'm doing. I've got to always reorganize. I've always got to make this better. And I was using my own power of logical integration against myself. You saw it. I'd be like, oh, I want to do this. And then I want to do that. I want to do this. I want to do that. And I was like, oh my God, you need to stop. But I don't know how to stop sometimes. What I've also recognized in my own limitation, and I mean that in the most powerful way, like what I've recognized, I'm only here to do very specific things, just as everybody else is. What I've recognized my own limitation is that I need an energetic oomph from somebody else. It's my 58 line 3, which is I think it's my design sun. And it's in detriment. And it's all about like the fuel to ignite with the other people from somebody else, whether it's right or wrong. And when I really started to integrate that, it's like, yeah, my own limitation was I was trying to do it all on my own.
Yeah.
And what I've really came to accept is that, I think we all want to be the leader of our own domains and we all want to be autonomous and we all want to be leading something that is us. My limitation is that that's actually not me. I don't know that I'm here to be the face, voice, leader of an entity. I'm here to be just right behind the scenes, right behind the curtains, looking at the bigger picture and saying, and by bigger picture, I mean the landscape, like to look at what's going on in the environment, whether it's truly in society, whether it's inside a business, whether it's inside a person, whether it's whatever, to then take all of that, integrate it together and say, oh my God, here's what's working. And then this is amazing. Here's how we can make it even better. And oh, by the way, because I have so much collective energy in my human design, here's how we get it to a lot of people in a very consumable way. And my limitation is my mind is here to organize other people. The limitation is I can't use that for myself. And when I use it for myself, that's when I get I'll try this. No, that doesn't work. I'll try that. No, I don't like that. No, I don't like that. And I get this start and stop. I'm also very good at here's what needs to be done. And then I get up against the wall. And it's like, okay, we're not going any further until I get the oomph from somebody else to say, okay, it's time to start again. All through learning my astrological natal chart and my human design. Throw in gene keys in there, and then we got a whole nother discussion to go. Yeah.
So much. There's so much. And again, like tying it all back into really like the purpose of Expansive CEO is then using that information to actually make new decisions in your business that line up with your actual energy, what you are here to do, what you're here to illuminate. Right? That was some of the, as we were kind of like experimenting and exploring this earlier this year together, like when I because I hadn't ever pulled your your astrological natal chart before earlier this year, and just really like diving in more and seeing all the energy you have in the 12th house, all the energy that I have in the 8th house, and like how much that's meant to, again, both of our sons being in those respective houses as well, illuminate together, right? Illuminate all of the hard things about money to in service to transforming the relationship with it for me, and you illuminating that it's, all about like the spiritual side and who you are and who you don't think you are, right? All the things that you keep hidden, illuminating that and bringing it to the surface, and just like how crazy it is when you like step back and look at it, that it's like, yeah, and that's the purpose. That's what we're doing collectively as well. When we talk about money and we talk about human design and we talk about inner child healing and talk about, what are the things that you don't love about yourself? How can we transform that? How do we bring it all back to love all the time? And what was I just going to say? I had one more thing and it like ran away. But that could also be a good place, right? Just like, how do we bring it back to love?
Yes. And acceptance.
Acceptance.
Awareness, acceptance, to then make the most aligned action. I think that's the other A we need to add.
Aligned action. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, because I mean, even all of those frameworks, right? It's like that was also another thing I think is so special about our connection. Again, we've known each other for a long time, right? Almost 5 years at this point. Definitely 5 years.
I think it's almost 6 years at this point.
Yeah, and the connection of like, we're supposed to be connected. We're supposed to build things together. The first thing we built was, a networking chapter that was friggin' amazing.
Yes.
And completely different from all the other chapters.
Yes.
Of this particular networking group or broader network. We had this really special group that also was more mastermind than networking group.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it was more personal, and we cared about each other in different ways, and so when other people would come in and be like, oh my God, is this what this is like? And then they would go to other chapters or create a new chapter, and they're like, how did you guys do that? Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's just our energy together that creates that. And even when it was time to let that go, you left before I did, but it didn't take me much longer after. I think it lasted another like 6 months. There was always this feeling of like, we're supposed to be connected. And even through like client advisor relationship, it's like, yeah, that's fine. That's not what it is though. There's something else here that we're supposed to be connecting on. And so, yeah, when we like took that step at the end of 2025, it's just been, I don't know. It's just like, from what you said before, put fuel on the fire in such cool and interesting ways of like, yeah, this is the way that you see all of that. Like I've created a lot of stuff and not been able, it's not that I haven't been able to release it, but it just hasn't gone right where it ultimately is meant to go. And then when you see it, that's what I was going to say before. When you see it, when you see the money story meditations and experience those, or see the regenerative wealth program and like, okay, I see how this can be clearer. It's like you are able to translate it from, again, you've said this a million times, my deeply individual energy to a collective energy. Like, okay, we need more visuals here. Okay, this didn't make enough sense. We need to like create something else. And the way that it has elevated everything, all of the stuff that like I created all this stuff, but it needed to be seen through someone else's lens and elevated so that it can be more collective. And I couldn't have done that on my own.
Yeah. Well, that's
because I tried
Yeah.
and it didn't work.
Well, it's also not how you're designed. And what's really important to me is it never loses the essence of you.
Mm.
Because whenever I go through the process, it's like, okay, I hear what she's saying and I know what she wants to do. And so it's never like taking something out or removing something. It's more of like just taking the pieces and saying, oh okay, well, we just gotta, no, this one goes here goes here, this goes there. And I think that's also the beauty of our partnership is that because we look at it through the lens of human design, of astrology, of this, of that, I think you and I both have an appreciation for our quote unquote shortcomings. And it's kind of like, okay, yeah. We never get mad at it. We never like judge it. It's just like, oh no, this is just not what she has. That's fine. Either I'll take it for this moment and then we got to find somebody else to do it. Or yeah, we'll just use our generator energy to suck it up for this moment and figure it out. And then just, yeah, power through. And then make it so that it is something that reflects somebody else's contributions when we get to that. Yeah. So again, tell me it's ridiculous to look at things through human design, gene keys, or astrology, and tell me I'm fucking crazy. Because I'll just be over here in my little world thing. Hey, it works for us. So that emoji.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and then at the very real, tangible level, right? It is also about actual financial abundance.
Yes.
And how money moves through your personal experience, through the collective, through, and it's those things are so intertwined in my own being that's, it's like when I've tried to separate them, to separate the financial stewardship from the energetic, it falls flat. It doesn't, I don't have any energy for that. I'm like, well, now we're just talking about how money can make more money. Like, yeah, okay. I know that. I know that world. I know how to do that. If all you want to do is make more money for the sake of having more, higher numbers in a bank account and that you don't have any care for or appreciation of the impact that money can make in the broader world, in your world, in your community, in a broader impact, then it's like, it doesn't feel good to me to support that. And on the other side too, right? If it's just the human design, I've done that. I've done just human design coaching before. And that also doesn't feel good. I'm like, I had to experiment with it. I had to try it. And it was like, oh, that's not it. That doesn't feel good.
Even that doesn't feel good to me. You know that.
Yeah.
I need
Yeah.
somebody's personal story. I need your life. I need your context.
Yes.
To just give a reading, I'm like, oh, okay.
Right. Yeah. It just doesn't, it's utilizing these tools also in this greater context.
Yes.
They're all tools. They're all, a hammer, a screwdriver, an impact wrench, like whatever, like all the things. Maybe a table saw. I don't know. We have a lot of tools. A lot of tools. But they are tools in service to actually creating real financial results. And why does that matter? Because if we don't have safety and security right now in the way that our world works, that is money. You need money to survive. Even if I wish that that wasn't the case, even if I wish that, or not even wish, even if there was a future where, like, I don't know, like it's not so disparate and unequal. And we don't have to trade all of our life energy to get money in order to just barely scrape by, right? Like all of that is like, no, I don't want that to be the experience that we have of life. And that's not the energy that money wants.
Yeah.
I just had this conversation with someone else the other day, and this is the last thing I'll say, and then we'll wrap it up. But if we go a slight Gene Keys direction, my pearl sphere, which is my relationship to prosperity, my essence in this lifetime, is on a line 6. That line 6 in the pearl sphere is all about seeing beyond, right? The 6th line is always the visionary, always the, 10, 50. What's next? What's the 30,000 foot view? Where are we going? Where are we headed? And I struggled with that for a while. Because like, again, I'm in like a field where like it's very tangible. It's not necessarily like we're getting rid of money and that's not the system we're going to be in. I don't believe that that's anyone that lives right now and for the next probably hundreds of years. Still, we are still in like money is important in people's lives. Time. And so the what's next for me, I just had this like really drop in and integrate in a way that it hadn't before, is money going from like, what is the current? Money is used for power and control. Like that is, it doesn't feel good to a lot of people, right? There is a like very negative energy around money itself for the majority of the population, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And what's next? What's the thing that I feel that I'm here to help steward is how do we shift that relationship? How do we shift that energy of money from that of power and control to love, acceptance, cooperation, opportunity? How do we shift from I'm never going to have enough. It doesn't feel good. The people who do have it are evil. They use it to control others, because that is a very valid experience that a lot of people have right now. How do we shift that to the more money you have, the more impact, the more opportunity you have to help others, the more of life you get to experience with yourself, with your family? How do we utilize money in a way to make relationships better and to help more people? That's the shift. That's the energetic shift. That's the what am I seeing beyond? I see a path where money is a tool used for good. And it's the anomaly that it's used for power and control. That we see that for what it is, that is not the actual energy that money wants to carry. But it's a big shift.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Even saying it out loud, I'm like, oh, that feels big.
Well, it is big. It's very big, and that's okay. And that's where, and it's really funny is that X squared specifically is a triple split. It's here to have a lot of different people come, interact, connect, do the
Right.
thing. So while that's your 6th-line vision, the stewardship of that is in collaboration, connection, and stewardship with other people. So yes, it's big, but it's bigger than you and it's intended to be.
Right. I can't do that by myself.
Right.
Not possible. Not meant to be. So, is that good?
I think
we
that's
wrap it up
good.
there.
I'm
If you're still with us, if you hung in with us to the very end, 1, we love you. Thank you for being here. 2, if you haven't gone over to Substack, go to Substack. Expansive CEO on Substack. Check it out. If you have never, if you're not a current client of X Squared or Expansive CEO, and you've wanted to connect in some way to have that, like in that first step of connection with us, that's me and Lauren. We're there.
Yes.
It's not anyone else. It's you actually do get to connect with us and our energy over there. So if that's the first step that you want to take, come join us. Or an additional step that you're like, hey, I've done these other things and I want to be connected. And I want those, that set of money story meditations. And I want to be there live every quarter when you do something fun and different and unique. Come join us.
Come on. Parties.
Doors open.
Doors open. Water's warm. Drinks are flowing. Come on over.
Delicious. Thank you for being here. We hope to see you over on Substack. No matter what, though, you're always welcome here to come and listen and sit with us and chat. We love having you. So
Yes.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Bye, friends.